approved soon. The official date for the final deadline for the ETF approval is on January 10th. So we're going to go through some 2024 predictions today, and so you're best prepared for the new year. But first, let's check in with my amazing co-host. What's happening, Aaron? What's the cabal saying these days? Give us an update.
Hey, Happy New Year. Yeah, guys, everybody, we're just starting this space. Let's retweet it. Let's engage with it. The more people in here, the more fun we'll have. And, I want to bring people up on stage too, but we're only taking the hottest takes near the end, and we're going to need you to engage, and we'll be looking for the people who kind of tweet out the space and bring you up. And, guys, be preparing the hottest of hot predictions for crypto in 2024. We're only taking the hottest. No, ones that are not that hot, only the hottest. And I predict big things for this space, but Boomerang, great to be here.
Hey, good to have you. And we got Loudmouth on the stage as well. And whoever's interested, please request up. And also leave us a comment. If you have questions, if you've got comment, hot take, you can also put it in the comments. We'll be reading them out loud and giving you a shout out. So I think we're ready to get started. Are we, Aaron?
I'm ready. Tina, you got any just little hot predictions?
Yeah, let's get started. I feel like with everything happening this side, with Bitcoin, we have history on our side. The halving, Bitcoin's last year price performance. But what worries me is that it seems like we have Jim motherfucking Cramer on our side as well, our usual bottom signal. But other than that, there's been a lot of guesswork and talk from various folks about whether the spot ETF will get the green light or not. However, I think progress is being made. Just yesterday, there was a significant gathering involving major crypto exchanges and Wall Street figures. Also today, Grayscale and Vanek are making their final preparations, getting their ducks in a row. So I think that we need to start planning for all scenarios. I think that obviously the ETF getting denied is a very, very, very highly unlikely scenario, but it's something that I think we should discuss anyways. But there's a lot to go over. What should we expect? Is the price of Bitcoin going to just shoot up right after the ETF gets approved, or is it going to take some time? So I'm excited to get into all of this with you today, Aaron. What's your likely scenario in your opinion?
Well, my likely scenario for 2024 is we see the Bitcoin ETFs get approved. I'm betting January 8th. That's my prediction. That's the Monday before the 10th deadline for ARK Invest. I predict a couple months later the Ethereum ETFs will be approved. If they're, that would be a 1-2 shot if they approve Bitcoin, then immediately ETH. But I think it's likely the ETH one gets rejected a couple times. The Bitcoin maxis will come out and be like, there is no second best. But certainly eventually it will get approved. And we got the Bitcoin halving coming up. We got a looser monetary policy projected this year, presidential election. Typically, we don't usually get so many bullish catalysts or bullish price action until after the halving, the 9 months after the halving, and we still have a couple months until the halving. So things are going to be interesting. But my predictions are Bitcoin breaks all-time highs either end of this year or beginning of next year.
Well, I love that. And also, I feel like everybody's so focused on the ETF right now, which is a big deal. It is kind of running this bull run, the institutional bull run. But I feel like it's important to kind of like take in other news as well. And it's something that I saw that was really interesting, was that there was Receipts this Depository Corporation, which is a startup founded by former Citigroup executives, which plans to offer Bitcoin-backed securities that they say do not require U.S. regulatory approval. So the product basically is called like Bitcoin Depository Receipts, and it will be very similar to American depository receipts that represent foreign stocks. And they say that we don't need a license for this, and they're building this on top of the ETF. So that's happening. So I think that they'll be like pushing this to their customers, and we'll probably see many other products like this that are playing with regulatory loopholes to on-ramp more to Bitcoin. And it's going to be, I think, crazy. I think people are going to be looking to buy Bitcoin, which will drive up the price. And as we all know, the high price actually attracts more people, attracts more buyers, and they're going to want to FOMO in. So I think that we're positioned in a really good, spot. And the things that we do know are happening for sure, obviously, are going to be very bullish for Bitcoin. But then we see news like this about some stuff that we haven't really discussed or saw coming up, and it gets me excited. This is kind of the first asset class that has diminishing supply that's also going to be approved for an ETF, and the asset is solid, and it's a new asset class, and tons of money looking for a home that are no longer investing in bonds and S&P 500 are going to want to be investing in Bitcoin and coming in. So I do see, I agree with you, but I feel like there's a lot that we actually aren't even taking into account because everybody's so focused on the ETF. What do you think about this?
What's the question specifically?
The question about, it's not a real question. I thought it was just cool that the former city executives are coming up with the Bitcoin depository receipts that they think doesn't really need that regulatory overlook.
Very interesting. Let's throw it to Loudmouth. Loudmouth, what are you thinking?
Well, I think that there's always going to be those extra little things that happen because money was created to move, right? And so they're going to figure out ways to move it, and the faster you move it, the more you make of it. I think that when the ETFs are approved, I think it will be a lot of that. The people that are already here have kind of factored that into the price already. So I think it'll be a little slower moving than we believe. But then when the banks start selling, the old ladies' 401k money into it, then it's going to shoot up crazy, and eventually we'll be selling Satoshis and not Bitcoins.
I like that. And I think, what you're saying makes perfect sense. And, it's big money coming in this time. And it's important to remember that, basically these big funds that are coming in aren't going to just fully... basically where I'm going with this is that a lot of people speculate that the price of Bitcoin is going to shoot up really quickly after the ETF is approved. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this because I feel like it won't be right away. Maybe it'll go past 50K, 60K, but I don't think we're going to the all-time highs right after the Bitcoin ETF is approved. What do you guys think about that?
No, I don't believe that either. I believe that Bitcoin's top will be the beginning of 2025, somewhere in the first quarter of 2025.
Oh, 2025. So no 2024 for you.
No, I don't think Bitcoin will hit high in 2024. I just don't. Looking back at all the other cycles, it just...
Interesting.
Even if it's a super cycle, I think that it takes time. And most people, it takes about 6 months for people to to get their trust enough to get into them thinking about investing any money. So a lot of people are not here yet, and they're not even thinking about it. We're making decisions and considerations based on the people that are already in the ecosystem. And yeah, there are people that are in the ecosystem waiting and watching and wanting to put in, some that's already price figured it in and put it in, but I think it'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah. And guys, get your hot takes ready or predictions ready. The hottest of predictions, I want to call people up on stage and have you guys present what you're thinking to us. So make sure you request and share the space. Or comment underneath the space your predictions, and we'll read some of the good ones. Loudmouth, what you're saying about no all-time highs until 2025, that actually is, I think that's very reasonable. And typically what we usually see, like I was saying, all these bullish catalysts, they're happening so early. But even with all these bullish catalysts, it's going to take, there is a lot of resistance, to break all-time highs and to get up there. There's a lot of resistance kind of below where we are below right now, around 50K. And then there's a lot of resistance, certainly breaking all-time highs. And we're going to go up and down and, consolidate higher. And that takes time. And, whether that happens at the end of 2024 or, in 2025, the slower it happened, the healthier it would be. If we took a whole year to get back to all-time highs, that'd be awesome. But this ETF.
And there's a lot more things. There's a lot more things to invest your money into this cycle as well, and a lot of other people are going to do that.
For sure, but I also wanted to add a fun fact in terms of what you guys are saying. 621,000 new Bitcoins in the market will be unlocked when the ETF gets approved because it's locked in grayscale right now. So basically, as soon as it gets approved, they're going to be trying to sell it to their customers, which is not going to be the best for the price initially. But And also, to put it into perspective, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy has basically 1,800. Yeah, but I think so. Yeah, near 200K basically Bitcoins, but I think it's 190K or something like that. I would have to look it up, but that's basically Grayscale basically has 4 times as much. So they're going to be, trying to sell this. So there's going to be more supply in the short term, which will hurt the price a little bit, and there might not be that much demand for it in the beginning, but it's going to take some time. And I think for the long term, it'll set in and it's super bullish. But in the short term, I don't think it's going to shoot up right away, mainly because of these facts.
Now Grayscale is trying to turn their GBTC trust into an ETF. They, it's questionable whether that, they'll go through with everybody else. I think they will, but is that, like, can you explain that, Tina? Is that, like, more supply on the market? Like, wouldn't they just turn their reserves into an ETF, still hold them, and then if they sell more to clients, they'd have to custody it themselves?
Well, I think if it's like backed by Bitcoin, they're gonna have the actual Bitcoin to sell it. And once they do sell it to customers, obviously there's going to be more supply in the market. Right now, we are seeing diminishing supply. Holders are holding, hodlers are holding, and short-term holders are learning to actually hold more long-term. And I feel like, just the law of supply and demand. I think that there's going to be huge demand for this in the long term, and it has diminishing supply, which is crazy. It's the best performing asset of last year, actually. NASDAQ comes after, all the other assets come after. Bitcoin performed about 150 to 70%. So it's a solid asset. It's just going to take some time for people to realize and come in. So in the beginning, there might be more supply coming in the market and affecting the price, just, supply and demand, but the demand will go up more and more, and the supply, as we know, is capped. So it's just the initial kind of sell-off, and then it'll set price in.
Tina, I know you're building on Ethereum and Polygon. Seems like Ethereum's dead nowadays. I mean, Solana is where...
Whoa.
Solana is the coin other than Bitcoin. Agree or disagree?
I love Solana. I definitely am not I build on Ethereum. I have my products on Ethereum, but I actually am a big fan of Solana, as you should know by now. But at the same time, I feel like based off of what I was seeing in Mistari's predictions, actually, it was talking about how roll-ups are going to be the ones that are going to do the best this cycle. So they were basically predicting that in the current market, in this rally, tokens associated with these roll-up technologies will increase in value more than Ethereum's own token. So in other words, while Ethereum itself is becoming more efficient with roll-ups, the tokens that are directly involved in these roll-ups will actually benefit more in terms of market value. So you can actually take advantage of this and do a spread trade. That was also, put out by Mistari. What's up, Loudmouth?
Could you explain to the people in the room what a roll-up is?
I definitely, I don't know if I can give you the best explanation, but I think it's basically when you try to be faster and more efficient and cheaper, so you process some things off the chain, but I'm sure somebody can give a bit better technical analysis of this. But as we all know, Ethereum's been slow, the gas fees have been high, so these are kind of ways to, layer 2s and roll-ups and actions up here. Save me action.
Yeah, action.
I'll give you the loudmouth explanation.
It's simple, so we can understand. Simple. Yes.
All right. So Ethereum really busy. Takes a while for things to get signed off, and it costs a lot of money. A bunch of people are doing stuff. Roll-ups basically take all those transactions, put it on a side chain. They package it all together, then they send it to Ethereum as a transaction for everybody else. But it doesn't have to wait, so it's faster and it's cheaper.
So it's like a blockchain.
Yep, that's why they're layer 2s.
I wish I had a soundboard and I could clap for you. Next one.
Now, there we go. Speaking of roll-ups, big catalyst. I mean, it's not actually being talked about that much right now, but like Ethereum's, one of the major upgrades, there's still kind of one big one left, which is the proto-dank sharding, which is getting implemented in Q1. So it's a big Ethereum upgrade, and kind of like all eyes and ears are on Bitcoin ETF and Solana and, you know, other things like decentralized physical infrastructure and L2s. But like speaking of L2s, you know, a big catalyst is the proto-dank sharding, which the way I understand it will make, you know, just a lot better and cheaper to build on Ethereum with the L2s. So, you know, I want to put the question to you guys on stage. Guys, give me your top 1 and 2 L2s for 2024.
Am I going? Obviously, for me, it's Polygon. I love Polygon, but go Action.
Wait, but like, okay, so Polygon, why do you like Polygon?
Well, I feel like Polygon just performed so well, and they've been building so much, and they performed so well through the bear market while everybody was kind of in hiding. Polygon kept announcing big brand deals with Web2 brands like Disney, Starbucks, and they just kept rolling them in. And they've, obviously with their ZK rollup coming in now, a lot of big brands you're seeing are actually integrating into their ZK rollup. And I think that's just super bullish. I love everything they're doing. I mean, it's cheap, it's, you know, fast. And yeah, I mean, if you come to Friday Spaces, maybe you'll be more informed.
Yeah, but like, okay, so yeah, you make great points. Polygon, so many partnerships, Disney, Starbucks, like the list goes on and on. Solana, what, they have like one? Shopify? Would you say like, I'm putting my money on Polygon, not Solana, because of the partnerships?
I mean, there's just different use cases for all of these. I don't think that I like to pick over one or another unless it's like I really don't like their technology. But let's say Bitcoin. Like, I can't compare Bitcoin to Solana. Bitcoin is a store of value. Solana is a different use case. Ethereum and Solana are more similar in their use cases. And I feel like we can't discount. I know there's a lot of Solana haters, especially for the fact that, you know, it keeps turning on and off and all that stuff. And people say there's a button that they turn it on and off. But, you know, I know there's a lot of haters, but I do think that Solana's already achieved so much in the same amount of time that it's been there as Cardano. They've already developed much more than Cardano. So like for me, if I see a use case for it, if I'm a fan of their technology, I'm a fan of the blockchain, whether it's a layer 2, whether it's a layer 1, you know, I feel like they're all going to come up and they're all going to have different use cases.
Wow, I don't believe that Solana is really decentralized, though, and I think it's manipulated, and it's going to take a lot of people's money.
100%, I agree with you, but I feel like
Cardano, on the other hand,
we can't be decentralized.
Notice how I asked her about Polygon and Solana, and she took the opportunity to shit on Cardano.
Yes, Cardano is, look, slow and steady wins the race every time. I promise you, Cardano is the one. That's a layer 1, and then whatever's going to be built on that. But I think that Charles Hoskinson is one of the greatest minds alive on the planet, and I think Solana is a bunch of crooks.
But speaking about,
I don't agree. Happy New Year.
We'll go to you in a second, sir. Speaking of, you know, Solana's outages and, you know, turning off the blockchain, guys, I feel like we're still stuck in last cycle. I believe Solana will have no outages this cycle. That's a prediction after Fire Dancer is implemented. I mean, they say it's going to be a lot better. We'll see, but. You know, Solana, maybe in 2024, 2025, 0 outages. My prediction, but we'll see. What's up, sir?
You asked about yeah, go for Crypto Surfer.
Thank you, man, guys. First of all, Happy New Year.
Hey, introduce yourself. Tell us, like you know, what you do in crypto, and give us a hot prediction, man.
Okay, high prediction: 70% Solana gainings in 1 month. Solana to 170 in 1 month, 30 days.
Why do you say that?
Yes, because I just know, you know, like I've been in crypto. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm from the Netherlands, but like here, the thing is, and this is also in a lot of countries, people love meme coins. Like people go wild for meme coins, and right now it's meme coin season on Solana.
Yeah,
it's not a Polygon. Now. Yeah, it's not a Polygon. It's not an Ethereum. Ethereum has the highest gas fees. It's not fun anymore to trade on Ethereum. So Solana is a new thing.
Solana is a newer thing. Is Solana your number 1 pick for alternative L1, or is there? What are you thinking, man? Is it Solana and alternative L1s or ETH layer 2s, or give us a few picks? And have you introduced yourself yet?
Yeah.
Like why you're like where your knowledge comes from in crypto?
Okay, my knowledge comes from like trading back in 2015, or like the first introduction was actually in 2013 or 12 actually, like very early in the space. And I've been trading in 2017. I've been doing like NFTs on Clubhouse when there was Corona. I've been actually like been a while in this in this community in this space. You know, like I really love it. I love talking with you guys.
So you're pretty knowledgeable. So give us the
Yeah.
Is it Solana and alternative L1s or Ethereum L2s? Where do you throw your weight this cycle?
Like Altus, I think Polygon has a decent chance. It is like it is a big known blockchain, but also Matis, because Matis, like lately, I've been hearing a lot of Matis news. I can't. My English is not that. My
Call it
Dutch is very
Metis or Metis?
Metis. I don't know. Is it Metis or Metis?
So Metis was it a fork of either Arbitrum or Optimism? They basically forked the code. They had a token before, Arbitrum and Optimism. One of those got the token, and the value prop is kind of, among other things. Well, first of all, they're doing like is it buyback and burn thing coming up? In some way, they're burning their tokens coming up, kind of implement a new tokenomics. So that should be pretty bullish for the price. But also, Vitalik's mom is associated with it. Weird, kind of cool.
That's cool, man. That's very cool.
Hey, Tina, you can reset in just a second. But before we do, I just want to gauge the audience, guys. Get ready to press a button. Whoever's listening, if you are more Solana fan this cycle, I want you to do purple heart. Flash some purple hearts. No, Solana is green hearts. Solana green hearts, Polygon purple heart. Solana is green hearts, Polygon purple hearts. Flash them. What do you think? I'm looking right now. Solana green, Polygon purple.
Let's see. And Cardano blue.
Okay, buddy. Okay, interesting.
So, Aaron, what do you see? Who wins?
I was seeing a lot of Solana.
I'm seeing a lot of purple hearts, to be honest.
Purple hearts, respect. But I'm seeing both. I'm seeing one Cardano from Loudmouth, even though I like Cardano. But all right, Tina, where do you want to go with this?
Should we discuss the price of Bitcoin a little bit? There's a lot of predictions around, where the price is going to go this year. I think we did kind of cover it a little bit, but I feel like we could go into it kind of more detailed. I think that, like I said before, we've never kind of gone into a halving cycle with diminishing supply. Holders are holding, short-term holders are holding more long-term. There's 5 million lost, and there's money inflows coming in like never in the history of this asset. So are we going to be peaking late 2024? I think we already covered this a little bit, but I'm interested to see where you guys, what's your price target? Because, I definitely went over about 13 predictions, and I've averaged out some things, but I kind of want to hear your thoughts first. So, first of all, I want to welcome Seth to the stage, one of my favorite speakers. Welcome, Happy New Year. Let us know what you think, Seth, about the price of Bitcoin in 2024.
Oh my gosh. Tina, thanks so much for the warm welcome, and thanks for having me on stage. Definitely appreciate you guys continuing to hold these spaces. The consistency is awesome. I love that it's something I can rely on and have always great conversations with great people. So my thoughts in the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Again, you already heard it, but you haven't heard me say it yet. Happy New Year. My predictions for Bitcoin in the short to midterm are that we might still have another pullback. I mean, as we just saw this week, that can happen. I mean, and if you're not used to seeing 20%, 30%, 50% dips on the intraday, then you might not have the stomach for crypto to begin with. So that's the first thing.
Well, what kind of dip are we talking about? There's no way it's going below 31, right?
I agree with you. Probably not going below 31. But if you had asked everybody just on Saturday, are we going to race up to 50? Everyone would have said yes. And that's why everyone got wrecked. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that I just want to be very, very clear. Even under the best of circumstances, we can see a 50% drawdown. That's an average normal thing in crypto. I just wanted to urge that caution. So yeah, like you're saying, the likelihood.
What is your hot prediction for the short to midterm? How low we could go?
Short to midterm, I'd like to anchor also at about 31 and hope we don't go below that. But but again, we can definitely wick down into the 20s. So short to midterm, maybe a pullback into that low 30s range. But then otherwise, as we near the halving and, conditional upon an ETF approval, or rejection, either one, then we might be out to the races, and just push that 6-figure number that Bitcoin really wanted to get to last bull run but couldn't. I think that totally happens after the midterm. I think if we don't pull back and get way too many shakeouts or aggressive reprisal from regulators here in the United States, then we do see a pretty awesome rise and we do hit 6 figures.
Seth, I got a question for you. And if you're not following Seth, what are you doing with your life? Follow him, hit the notification bell beside his name. All right, so we've talked about all of our predictions on what Bitcoin would do if the ETF gets approved. What if it gets denied? What do you think Bitcoin's going to do?
What it always does. Okay, you guys have all seen that old Weird Al movie, UHF? Yeah, you chose the last box. What you get if it gets denied is nothing. It gives you absolutely no reaction at all. Stone cold, ice in its veins. Bitcoin walks right past you and Gary Gensler and kind of says like, "Oh wait, I heard you were looking for me. You can't see this. I don't care." And it keeps on walking. It just keeps going. It brings something to the ring, to the arena that you've never even seen. Not even in Lucha Libre, right, where there's not really many safety protocols and people are literally breaking their spines on stage. Bitcoin will do something acrobatically that you thought was not possible. But mostly, if it gets rejected, the thing is, it already had something with adoption curve, and it already has a street value. So it's going to continue to make its market without those massive instruments going to the hands of family offices and everybody else. Look, I know more people want Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but as more of a cypherpunk guy, I want to see it do its organic, natural cypherpunk thing for as long as possible. So for me, a rejection is not the worst thing.
Guys, I'm still hoping for some hot, interesting takes on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins. Evan, Floyd, please introduce yourself and give us something.
I'm going to do a ZK roll-up and roll up a whole bunch of thoughts into one here. Introduce myself. I'm Evan. I do a space called the Evan Virtual Machine. I interview people in the space, trying to get in here, and I'm more of a technicals and substance guy. I like my DGen stuff, but I'm more on the side of talking to people who develop in the space, who are influencers, things like that. So my value to you is taking the emotions out of the investment and looking. So let me make a couple comments. One, I've got what I call my emergency Gary Gensler clown fund, where I took my Bitcoin allocation and I left most of it in cold storage, but siphoned off a piece of it into stables to wait. And because you never know what the SEC is going to do. If they reject it, you get a dip for just a little bit. So that's a free opportunity to pick up some nice cheap Bitcoin. And so you can thank the SEC later. And if they approve it, then hey, you're off to the races, right? My hot take for this market is that I think that the Cosmos ecosystem is going to do very well. If you look throughout the bear market, look at Injective. My God, Injective has been amazing. I think that.
Why do you think Injective has really, shined?
Well, the chart speaks for itself for one. The backing on the startup capital for Injective between, you got Mark Cuban, Pantera Capital. Injective has a very good start, but it also is it's a niche focused cryptocurrency. It's not trying to do too many things, right? It's focusing on DeFi ecosystems, and I think that
I was going to say their burn auction and burn program.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. My other prediction is this, and this is a really hot take, is that I think that there's going to be a demand for proof of stake networks are fine. I think that there's going to be a demand and a resurgence for secure, scalable proof of work cryptos, like Casper, for example. I think that there is a demand for the security that proof of work offers, And I think that is going to be an interesting narrative. I don't know how well it does. And I'll make the last comment on, because I've been hearing the Ethereum Solana debate for a while. So let me break this down. So in a bull market, liquidity swashes from ecosystem to ecosystem. Not every ecosystem pumps at the same time. So, you'll see where one ecosystem will do really well, people will take profits, and they'll move into the next one. So what you'll see a lot of times is a lot of the cheaper chains will run first, and then a lot of it will capitulate back into Ethereum later. And so you have to ask, okay, why? So why is Solana doing so well right now? Well, the technology is fast, the gas fees are extremely cheap, so it's the barrier to entry for new people who are getting excited about the market is a lot easier to deal with than Ethereum. And so when you were, I think back to when I was a new investor, Ethereum was very difficult for me because the gas fees were 25, 50, 35, it just depends on what day it was, right? And so chains like AVAX or Binance Smart Chain were extremely hot last cycle because of Ethereum. But when I had more money to play with, then I went to Ethereum. And so, a lot of your older heads, a lot of your older developers that have been around in the space for a while know how to work Ethereum well. And it doesn't mean Ethereum or vice versa. It's just that Solana has a lower barrier to entry. So that's why you're seeing a lot of degen stuff on Solana right now. Because when you're a new investor, you don't know. I think that you have to go through one crypto cycle to really, really get a feel for the space, because, dude, I got wrecked last cycle. I got in the end of 21, I got into the D5 Ponzi's, and then I got whacked by Terra Luna, and then I got whacked by SBF, and then I just had to endure a long, hard bear market to really learn my lesson on how to take profits and how to invest and how to dollar cost average. So, I think that the reason why you're seeing a lot of degen stuff on Solana, why people are talking, junk about it, is because, it's the culture, right? When you're a new investor, you don't really know what you're doing. You're just here to jump into whatever and try to make, money. And then you learn your fundamentals later. And so,
could you kind of expound, give us something that we can all respond to, and if you could go into more detail. You said that you think alternative proof of work base layers like Caspa are going to see something.
Yes, I'll definitely jump on that one. Then I'll yield my time because I don't want to take up too much of the mic. So here's the deal. Because you hear the FUD right now, right? Okay, this conspiracy theory is, BlackRock is going to control the Bitcoin market, right? Okay, BlackRock's going to buy up a lot of Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin as an example because it's the most, known proof of work. Okay, well, they say, BlackRock's going to buy up all the supply and control the market. Well, it's not how proof of work works. They're hashed by miners. In a proof of stake network, if you own most of the liquidity, you can take control of the validators, correct? So, the problem with, imagine kids on a playground. You got one kid that's creating the games and changing the rules. Well, the free market's going to go somewhere else. So in a proof of work system, even if you suck up all the liquidity, if you're the only player in the game, well, they're just going to fork or take it somewhere else. So proof of work cryptocurrencies, just by the sheer fact of how they work, based off of miners and hashing versus staking validators, offers a more decentralized system. So you have less vector of attack and more security. Well, the traditional problem with proof of work networks, think about Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, is the scalability. Okay, well, Caspa is interesting because it combines DAG technology, which is not a traditional blockchain. It's multiple blocks it's multiple blocks at the same time with proof of work. It's a new technology, and so you have Kadena and you have other ones that have been trying to create scalable proof of work, but Caspa seems to have picked up some steam. And if they can really, really do smart contracts, if they can pull off smart contracts, I think that they'll have a good shot, because they can do everything that a proof of stake cryptocurrency can do, but they offer the security and the potential decentralization of a proof of work network. If that makes sense.
If anybody,
I like you, Evan. I like you.
Let's discuss that for 2 minutes, and then we'll open it up to other topics. Does anybody have any response to him saying that proof of work tokens like Kadena, Chia, Caspa are going to see a renaissance because we're going to need something that is proof of work? Any thoughts?
Chia is not a proof of work, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Seth, but I'll say that Chia is not a proof of work.
Well, I don't know though. Here's the thing. I'll agree with you because some people will boil proof of work down into its constituent components: proof of investment or proof of waste. So you can frame it however you want. And yeah, I think in the case of Chia, it's definitely the that proof of waste concept. But I'm gonna just say first off, I've got some alignment with Evan's worldview here, but I'm gonna offer some pushback, and here's why. We've seen the market just say very clearly in terms of the TVL captive on proof of stake systems that most of DeFi and most of all the other interesting things that are happening, most frothy things that are happening in crypto, just like you were saying, they're happening in lower fee environments and they're happening in much higher, much faster paced environments. So while there's a narrative of Caspa being able to scale a certain way, and there was a narrative of Kadena being able to scale a certain way, and there will be a narrative of Chia scaling a certain way, they haven't done it. Certainly if they are scaling, there's not enough demand for exactly what they're offering because of the incumbent projects and all of the value that's captive on systems like Ethereum. For as much as there's a lot of pain using Ethereum today, man, there's also a lot of money there too. So in terms of launching new projects that have some kind of a token to create a token gate, or coming up with DeFi concepts or NFTs that you want to charge a higher ticket, most investors and just most retail participants look at if you're trading up a smaller position size of maybe low 4 figures up to 5 figures plus, you're really not going to care about higher gas fees for certain types of transactions, and that continues to bear out. So I've been kind of blackpilled, my friend, and that's my take on it. Is that while there's a purity in proof of work, there is a market reality in proof of stake, and I think that all of the investment that's capped in proof of stake systems kind of shows that. Though I would love to see that renaissance. I would love to see it. I really would. I don't see the market choosing that.
Cool.
So you're saying if you drive a Hummer, you don't ask what gas prices are.
Evan, take 30 seconds to respond, and then after your response, we're going to reset the room and hopefully be thinking of another prediction anybody from the audience has. We'll open it up. So respond.
Sure. Hey, MYB, I'm actually going to respond to you. I don't even take that as a pushback because I actually kind of agree with you. So I look at these chains like this, with the exception of Bitcoin and a few other older cryptos. I look at all these chains as experimental technology because 2 or 3 years from now, they look vastly different than they did 2 or 3 years ago. And so that's why they're constantly building. And so even Solana, right? Chain shutdowns and things like that. Solana's a lot better than it was 2 years ago, even though, but when you put a load on these chains, like imagine putting a load on an engine, you find out how much it can actually haul, like engineerily speaking. So, you have to really test these things out, and the bull market will really allow us to do that. So I don't make a yay or nay. It's just kind of a guess. It's proof of concept. You just have to let it kind of play out and the free market play out and let the best idea win. And on that note, on the Blackpill note, I'll just make a funny comment. If all else goes to hell and we have no other choice, Monero still exists.
You and Seth are going to be buddies.
I love it. Hey guys, anybody who's on stage right now, if you have an ultra hot prediction, something you don't hear a lot of people talking about, a specific token, a specific vertical of tokens, decentralized physical infrastructure, roll-ups, whatever it is, if that applies to you, just jump on up, start speaking.
All right, so let's do this. I'm just going to go for it. Here's the deal. I think we almost had it. We had it, and then we kind of moved away from it. And this is L2s, right? And it's because people are not paying attention to what L2s are doing what right now. We've heard this narrative about gaming left and right, saying gaming is what's going to propel the next big thing. IMX is definitely an unsung hero in the space because they have a bunch of people who have built things, and it's just a matter of getting the liquidity in there and getting people to trade, and we're right on the corner of that taking place. The first DEX for IMX is about to launch, and that's going to change everything because people are now going to be able to actually trade those tokens and make things move in that ecosystem, which means that we're going to get more money in there. So if you're looking for something that will provide liquidity, especially in the gaming arena for Web3, I'm looking at Immutable right now.
Immutable is your pick. I love it. Guys, give Action a follow. Give me a follow. I'll say it. I'll give me a follow. Give Boomerang a follow. Seth, Evan, everybody. Opening it up to, unless So he's saying
Let's go to Dave. I think Dave's hand is falling off.
Let's do it, Dave. But Dave, I want to hear a freaking hot take because I see some other people, chomping at the bit, ready to share.
I don't think
you better not agree with me, Dave.
No, it's terrible. By the way, that's not the first dex. Zigzag was already the first dex, but good try action. You gave it a shot. You know what I mean? But listen, I don't think anybody's going to want to follow this take because here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys the plan of action right now. Okay, the Bitcoin play, right? Great. The ETF gets approved tomorrow. Gets approved in the next few days. Where are people going to be looking? Stacks and that entire Stacks ecosystem, and I mean that from the perspective of airdrops, price appreciation, and just liquidity providing, and it's absolutely nuts. And I'm going to lay it out for you now.
You said Stacks. You said Stacks.
Yep, STX, which you can buy on Coinbase, by the way, because it was actually the first ever Reg A token issued. Check it. You ready? So on Stacks now, okay, here's what I look at, right? I look at where's the smart money, like where are people putting their money? You look at Stacks literally less than 75 days ago, you had average 24-hour volume of $10 million. Today, $175 million on a daily basis. You then look at what are the other tokens in the ecosystem and how can I benefit from this? Well, they actually have their first DEX. Now, this is a Bitcoin DEX. Now, granted, it's like, look at Alex as like the layer 2. Right? It's the Uniswap to Bitcoin. But ultimately, the finality times are fucking a nightmare. They're coming out with their Nakamoto upgrade. There's going to be 5-second blocks by the time the halving comes. Okay? Alex, 24-hour volume less than 75 days ago, $500,000 a day. Today, $11 million. They just got listed on KuCoin today. That's a big fucking deal. Now, when you have Stacks, right, just the same way that you own Ethereum, they just launched the stacking DAO. And now if you stack the stacking DAO, you now get to take advantage of all the liquid staking derivatives. So you stack, you put your stacks in there, you get your measly 7%, you take out your STX, right, your stake stacks, and you go stake it on Bitflow Finance. Now when you add liquidity to the liquidity pool there, guess what? Because they just launched, they have a whole point system, and they're going to reward you handsomely with an airdrop, obviously being one of the first people that are on this platform that are providing liquidity, and you get a ridiculous amount of points for every single day, depending on obviously the dollar amount that you hold on there. So between Stacks, Alex, and I didn't even go into the other decks of Diko, DIKO, and StackSwap, STSW, I mean, that whole ecosystem is ripe. It is ripe. And I'm just talking about price appreciation. Stacks was 50 cents less than 3 months ago. This thing's at $1.75, and it's absolutely ripping. And where do you think the smart money is going to go when they're done looking at Bitcoin? Where? Stacks. The layer 2. Mic drop.
No, dude, that is really interesting. That is excellent use of the mic, man.
So that was the hot take you wanted. Dave got it. Sorry, Aaron, go.
No, Dave always provides value as far as keeping the energy on stage, but that was actual, real, hardcore value information. Let's get some of these. Evan, do you have a 30-second comment? Because I do want to throw it over to either Menson or Crypto Sue to see what they have to say. But Evan, 30 seconds.
Yeah. One, MYB, dude's super intelligent. Shout out to you, dude. You're freaking awesome. You make a lot of sense, man. I believe in lifting people up in the space. Let me come up with like a crazy, super hot take. I think that a token, there's possible, look at Solana last bull run, right? Solana came out after the Bitcoin halving or right around the time. I think that there's tokens that haven't released yet, or layer ones that have been in production for a while that are going to do really well that we haven't found yet. That I think that's going to be my hot take, because like I'm looking at like Celestia and SEI, like these, dude, I don't know. There's something about Cosmos ecosystem tokens. Like after the Luna crash, I don't know, man. The Cosmos has done really well, and Cosmos really impresses me. And the interface between swapping between chains. You know what? There's my hot take. Layer zeros. Layer zeros are interesting. I don't know. Polkadot doesn't seem to be doing too much, but some of these layer zeros in the Cosmos ecosystem are on fire, and I'm gonna stick with that. I do the airdrops. Just farm airdrops on Cosmos. Oh my god, it's amazing. So yeah, that's my take right there.
Celestia also in Masari's report as a coin to watch too, or an ecosystem to watch. But let's throw it to Menson. Menson, give us a fire prediction for 2024.
Yeah, going after Dave. Evan, it's cool that you came between because Dave's stuff was pretty good. It would have been a little hard going right after him. But I mean, you guys can tell me what you think. I really like the real world asset space. Like I'm kind of my thing is
So,
just like
real world assets, big narrative. Obviously, it's going to get a lot bigger. But like for those who are just simply explain real world assets as they apply to crypto. Like, what are we talking about here? What does that mean?
okay. So I mean, the technology is catching up, but essentially, like this is not the matrix yet. We don't live entirely in the ether, and I think people, and we haven't gotten there yet. So a lot of the native sort of maxis, or the people who sort of value these things that are just in the ether, it's like they don't really get that the physical world is more valuable than being in the ether. And technology, being able to tokenize things that we already have, or assets that are already in the physical world, and being able to now use technology to distribute it all over the world. And obviously real estate is like the big and sexy sort of real world asset that everybody is kind of seeing how this can sort of be tokenized and distributed. But there's also real world assets that are real but not even physical, like IP, like so many of them that so I think. And then when you look at, when you put all the different asset classes of the real world asset class, because it's like a general real world asset class, and then you go into all the various like real estate, jewelry, fine art. The list can go on as far as tokenizing it. You stand it compared to all the other categories, and there's just so much more liquidity, money, resources, like treasury, asset class, real estate asset class.
You want to hear from Seth right now? That's what you want to hear.
Seth,
Make it
please
sexy.
take it
Give us
away.
numbers.
Take it away.
All right.
Help us contextualize this, Seth. Real world assets.
I would love to do that because I'm feeling what Menson is bringing here. The real world asset space, and I apologize, I missed the homework early on, but the real world asset space is exciting precisely because we've got a ton of people who've been waiting, sidelined. They've got tons of liquidity locked up into things that they don't really know how to release. And frankly, with the way that the money printer's been running here in the United States, most people will find that a lot of their real world assets become illiquid because they're not sure how to leverage them. Yeah, you can get a HELOC on your real estate. Yeah, that's a way to do that. You can get some fiat, some dirty, nasty, filthy fiat in your hands today by going and signing half your life away. Plus, get worse terms than if you did it permissionlessly, decentralized, and have the opportunity to make the liquidity of your real world assets, your gold, your jewelry, yes, your titles, your liens, all of that.
So
all of that onto chain, so you can LP it, you can DeFi with it, you can loan against it, you can liquidate it, you can fractionalize it, you can syndicate it, all the things that you would want to do with things in the real world in order to make them more generally useful in a financial sense. You can do all that once it's tokenized.
So putting a button on the real world assets discussion. Are there projects today that are leading the real world assets in the crypto space? Anything, or it's just something that we know is coming, and there's not really a leader yet?
I'm going to punt this over to Menson in just a second because he's very actively tracking this. But let me mention just one thing. 4K protocol, very good protocol if you're looking at partnership in custody. Another great group, I have to disclose, I'm part of the emerging assets group. We have Block 47, Bark, where we're tokenizing water, and a few other things. But we're in talks with Brinks for doing security there. Just, you heard it here first. The world-class custodians of all previous artwork, gold, precious metals, all jewelry, all kinds of fine items, they're hungry for Web3. They're ready to chip in. They're ready to make this happen. So yeah, 4K protocol is one. EAG, or Emerging Assets Group, several sub-projects there. And then there are a couple other tokenization suites, but 4K protocol is my favorite.
I love that, and I just want to add a quick note because I'm a big fan of real world assets and tokenization. I mean, Seth and I have spoke about this on different spaces, but I want to mention, I hear she's talking about tokenization and fractionalizing, and I do want to mention to whoever's just like just now kind of getting hearing of this concept, it's important to remember that there has to be a demand for things as well, because I think in the beginning we quickly started to fractionalize things and then it wasn't going anywhere because there was no demand for it. So not everything should be fractionalized or turned into real world assets, but it will definitely completely change the financial market as we have it. All these pipelines that we've built, we're now realizing that it could be used to actually, remove intermediaries and a lot of the costs that are actually associated with doing a lot of different stuff, like such as a trust that you might want to leave for your kids. It could be done with tokenization, so I think that it's definitely useful, but it's important to remember there has to be a demand for things that you're tokenizing. And
whoever takes over the real estate tokenization game is going to be the leader, because there's more liquidity in that than anything. And the future is leverage and finance. And that's what they're talking about, is leverage and finance and things through tokenization, through like, instead of having a title for your automotive, you have a NFT for it. You can do it with jewelry, art, automotive industry, land, titles, cars, real estate. I mean, that right there is going to change everybody in this room's whole world. And I think that we're a little further away than we want to be, but we're closer than we used to be for sure. That is it. Yes.
Guys, Loudmouth at a crypto conference a bit ago introduced me to a guy who was like tokenizing real estate and deeds. And he was like, hey, maybe you guys can work together. And then like that didn't end up happening. But Loudmouth's like, I'm working with him. I like this guy. And then I asked him about it recently. I'm like, hey, whatever happened to that guy who was going to tokenize this stuff? And Loudmouth's like, oh, he's scammed. So you got to be careful.
Total scammer. Scammed me for like $75,000 cash.
Oh my God. I remember that guy actually.
Thanks for introducing me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I didn't do it thinking that he was that way, right?
No, of course not. Just kidding.
And that's one thing that you can always count on me. I'm never going to tell you to invest in anything or do anything that I wouldn't already put my own money in first.
No knock against Loudmouth. I was just kidding because of what ended up happening.
but his idea was genius, because the biggest theft in the world is real estate theft, and it's where people go and leverage a piece of real estate that they don't actually own. And if there's an NFT title lock on that real estate, then it won't be long before the institutions is going to make everybody, because the only real estate that'll be getting scammed is the one that's not on the blockchain. So once we can get that kind of momentum and traction going, then it's going to have to become automatic, just like you have to have insurance on your car if it's not paid off, or a house if it's not paid off, right? That you used to not have to have insurance on a car if it wasn't paid off, but now you got to have it legally for real. But most of the world, we're talking about, and that's why I'm so bullish on Cardano, because he goes after the unbanked and the rest of the world. We have the privilege in the United States of where we have titles for our houses, insurance policies on insurance policies on insurance policies with IDs and social security numbers. Most of the world do not have identification, and they don't have titles to their land. So if a war breaks out and the guy in Iran has to leave his 150-year-old family-owned land for 2 years, comes back, somebody's living in it, he has no way of proving that was his land for the last 150 years. But on the blockchain, he will. And through elections, they can't be scammed. If you go do an election on the blockchain, there's no way to scam that stuff. And with the identity, with Mind Your Biz, what he does on keeping things in privacy, like it's going to be, you don't have to trust, you're just going to have to verify, because it's all going to be transparent, but yet still you can have your identity not blasted all over the place for safety reasons, right? And that's why I am so bullish on decentralization, period. And things that aren't decentralized, I'm not that bullish on.
I love that you brought up the fact that, oh, sorry, I thought you were done. But I wanted to say I love that you brought up the fact that, we have to take into account countries that are not the US, because I feel like in the US we do have things easy and we forget that there's a need for these things. I had a friend in Pakistan that lost her dad, and she was just quickly trying to get back to her country because she was like, if I don't go there, all of his assets will be gone in a few months because people will just say, oh, this is my land, and by the time I get back, it will be documented in their name, which is nuts to me. Like, I can't even put my head around this, but it does happen, and there is a need for this kind of stuff, and blockchain is a huge solution when it comes to transparency, proof of ownership, and all of that stuff. So I love that you brought that up, because I think that we in the US sometimes forget. We have things a little too easy. But I kind of want to throw it to Dave, because I know, Dave, you and I have talked about real world assets and Chainlink doing some stuff with that. So do you want to give us an update?
Yeah, I was even just going to say, Tina, that you couldn't have hit the nail on the head harder, like at Loudmouth, because we had a CEO in the space of Red Swan, right? It's a commercial real estate company, and I was curious, how much money really, how much real estate is being put on the blockchain, and this company has done $18 billion of real estate is already on the blockchain just from this one company, which is kind of crazy. So when you think of that, just to put it at scale, I've never heard of Red Swan ever in my life, but yet here he is, like this guy, and he's talking about, we put 18 billion there. The commercial real estate market is so ginormous. We're talking tens of trillions of dollars when this thing actually really takes. So the people that are getting in and that are obviously doing this now are going to be the ones that are very, very well positioned, come the immediate future. But the Chainlink stuff, if you want, I guess I can go into that a little bit after. I know there's a bunch of hands up. I don't want to hog the mic.
Thank you. And let's go to the hands, because we are coming up on the hour. So let's just quickly get everybody else's hot takes in. Let's go to hgtp.ai.
Hello. Yes, I just wanted to comment on the RWA aspect. This is what my company does. We work with Quant and Constellation, so I am a little biased. And we have a metagraph that's coming live. But interoperability is one of the key components that people aren't really talking about for these RWAs or any sort of tokenized asset. And when you get into the weeds, yes, real estate's great. Some of the, tokenized diamonds like LCX did, that's great. But the real money comes from tokenized bonds, tokenized letters of credit, digital bills of lading, things like that. That's what we're working on. And currently it's a challenge, but you look at just the bonds, that's 115 trillion per year in volume just in Europe.
Looking for value accrual with real world assets, asked about, is there specific chains that are more leading this? Is there an answer for this? What do you see?
Yeah. So what we specialize is interoperability, right? So obviously anything that's a layer 0 that uses, HTTP, so that hypergraph technology, so that hyperledger fabric, and then anybody that Quant can touch, because they can touch 10 mainnets and allow interoperability between them. And then we provide interoperability between those and a couple other ecosystems. So if you can imagine, any chain is going to be viable as long as it has high transactions per second. And by 2025, all banks have to use ISO 222 messaging standard. So it's going to be very important that the tokens that are, being used to pay for these RWAs, as well as validation schemes and the chains people choose to tokenize on, are quantum computing resistant. Not only are they fast, but they're secure. And that ISO 222 messaging standard is really designed for that. And when they start to integrate to the traditional financial sector, it's going to be important that they are accessible at least to Quant, because that 3 lines of code connected to those legacy systems to provide interoperability to either their internal bridges or external bridges is going to be paramount, because nobody's going to all choose the same locale. The same environment. So those environments being able to speak in an efficient way is very important.
Think about this. BlackRock has $9.4 trillion in real world assets that it manages. Just one company.
Does anybody either have an extension of the hot takes on real world assets, something that hasn't been said, or does anybody have another prediction for 2024, something super hot and spicy they want to present to the panel for discussion. I'm leaning towards the latter. I'm hoping we get something different, but if somebody has something, interesting to say on real world assets, certainly, I mean, the whole space could have been about this. So
I've got one more thing that I want to drop there. This is hot. It's been mentioned in passing from some other panelists, but not in a more concrete way. One of the more popular Twitter Spaces co-hosts has been building an IP management ecosystem, which it falls under real world assets or just other assets, right, that are on chain. But intellectual property is, as we're seeing with Steamboat Willie go public domain right now. Intellectual property is, I will go so far as to say the United States has probably waged war over intellectual property more so than anything else. So it's hotly contested when we hear about America and her interests. Yeah, maybe they're talking about oil, but maybe they're literally just talking about Coca-Cola and Mickey Mouse. So yes, that's being tokenized too. Intellectual property, huge. And the ability to option, say, like a screenplay in Hollywood, man, you could, just knowing what's going on with optioned rights for intellectual property, for creative property, that would be disruptive. Just handling administratively, knowing when things are coming due or when they're up for renewal, or when somebody wants to exercise their option, how they can do that with decreased friction. Well, that will also be a game changer, because as we saw with AI, writing strikes in Hollywood, it's a fragile ecosystem. But intellectual property being having the friction decreased would help it. So anyway, that's one more thing.
I got a quick one for you, Aaron, also on the real world asset one. This is, I don't want to say long shot, because I think this one's going to actually do pretty well. But when you look at swarm markets, SMT, right, what they're doing is they're literally tokenizing real stocks and real treasury bonds and obviously bringing them on chain. Like, that is, to me, when you look at, what's it called, SVB, when you look at the whole banking disaster that happened, this to me is where the institutions are going to go, and obviously invest their money. Obviously, but the U.S., we can't obviously do these things, but you have to be an accredited investor, because it's, yeah. So SMT, just look into its tokenized actual stocks and tokenized treasury bonds. So that's where I think institutional money, big money, is going to flow into as well.
Thank you, Dave. We got way too many hands up and not enough time, so let's just quickly go through the hands. Give us like 20-second take. We're going to go with Crypto Surfer first, and then Ajax.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say, like, tokenization, I've seen some projects in 2017 they didn't put through. I don't know if it's something for the future or for right now, but I do believe in, like, like decentralized, the decentralized blockchain. And the second thing is this: like, a lot of people, we sometimes we don't, like, we aren't aware of there are a lot of people that aren't into the space right now, and like, these meme coins, they got them in the space, like Bank, Pepe, etc. And I just want to say, like, like Bitcoin itself, like Satoshi Nakamoto is famous. You drop these things on a 4chan, and like, meme coins are still very popular, and I think it's a very good sign, because they introduce so many people, so many intelligent people to the space. And that's just my 2 cents. I also want to say, right now I'm in this meme coin. It's called Tulana. It's just a bunch of people making fun. It's like this autistic version of Mike Tyson. And yeah, that's it, man. We're just having a lot of laughs on TG and just enjoying the crypto space. So thank you very much for having for letting me speak. Thank you.
Of course, thank you, and I love that autistic version of Mike Tyson. Let's go to Benson.
Hey guys. So my background is, so I study economics, I study business, asset classes, and I am having my career in creating real world assets, and that's why I brought it up. But I just released one of my other projects, which is a meme coin project. He actually just talked about that. I don't like going into spaces talking about stuff that I'm doing, especially if it's not. But this is a really hot take, and I can talk about this later. But we released the Black Panther coin on Christmas Day, which is a meme coin, and
there's no shilling.
Yeah, no shit. There's no
Don't let
shilling.
me.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah, I'm
shilling
sorry.
if you
Actually,
have
yeah,
some.
but this is what he
Cool.
was like. Give me like
No,
a
this meme
sexy.
coin's different.
Yeah, he said give me like a sexy hot take, and like that's why I didn't. I'm like, bro, I want to be honest, but like I don't want to like say it's my project, but it's like I don't know how to like you know what I mean? Like it's a weird like. But anyway, in brief, I think all these guys are the Facebook to my are the MySpace to my Facebook. So I mean, I'll leave it at that.
That was amazing.
Thank you, Medson. Let's go to Ajax. Ajax, still with us?
Yes, sorry.
Up?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah, just to touch on all the hot takes, especially the real world assets, as far as that goes. Is anybody mentioning Propy or Propy from Base's real world asset leader in real estate? I mean, that was a big thing with 4 billion transactions. It's really leading, and I feel like it's undermined right now, or no one's really given its due notice. Take a look into that. I agree with also Stacks. Forgive me for not knowing the name of who was talking about Stacks, but Stacks, yes, definitely. Alex Lab, get on your BRC20s. Big thing right now. If you're not on it, get on it now before it's too late. I mean, that's just big missed opportunity right there. BRC20s, it's going to be a big thing. I've been looking into it. I've done quite a few investments on it. I just feel it's a very hot item. Definitely Stacks. Whoever was talking about Stacks is building on that. And
let's go, Ajax.
Yeah, the Stacks is where it's at. If don't wait too late, that's gonna jump. I'm a day trader. That's all I do. I'm looking for big opportunities, and it feels like a lot of people here were taking words out of my mouth before I got my chance to talk. But yes, real world assets, real estate, big time. Agree on that. And Bitcoin staking, Babylon IO, another big thing to look in. I'll leave it there. I know it's 20 seconds, but yeah, look into staking your Bitcoin too. I'm definitely looking into Babylon IO next. That was it.
Cool, thank you. We got Tom Crown on stage too. I don't know if he's rugging or it just shows on my end that he's rugging. But Tom, if you're with us, say hi. But we'll go to Loudmouth while he's figuring it out.
Yeah, Tom is rugging on my my screen too. All right, so here's some alpha. I do not own this coin yet. I did own some. I took a little profits, and I'll probably be buying some more. I'm waiting for it to drop a little bit, maybe. But regardless, I am going to buy some. So I met the creator of ApeCoin at Art Basel and his developer, and they were telling me all the stuff that they were building and what they were doing, and it's on the ecosystem of SUI.
Wait, are you talking about Bored Ape Yacht Club coin or something different?
Yes, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the creator of ApeCoin. And I met him, his wife. They just moved from San Francisco to Miami. I met him at Art Basel. We took pictures together, and his developer. And they said that they are taking a lot of their stuff and starting to build on this network called SUI, SUI. And it's went up, I think, 11 cents since I've talked to him. And they got NFTs on it that are starting. They said that the top 5 NFTs on their platform is probably one of those is going to be the next Bored Ape on that one. But I think that is probably going to be something that is a lot of liquidity is going to come into. I'm not a chart guy. I actually really don't know what I'm doing at all in this space. That's why I keep smart people around me. I know what I'm doing in real world assets, real estate, and people. That's what I do understand, right? But I was around some really smart people, and they told me what they were doing. So I believe that that's probably going to be a good one. Maybe Altcoin Daily, you guys can look into it. Mind your biz. I trust you all and your research. So SUI, and you can buy it on Coinbase.
It's a programming language called Move. It's based off Rust. It's like instant finality. So I'm with you, Loudmouth. I like it.
SUI. SUI's, we've covered it, a few times for sure.
We gotta wrap this up soon. Action, what's up?
Yeah, so he made me some good money with that faucet. I appreciate it so much. But I do love my proof of work blockchains, and just to hit on those two that were talked about. Casper, I am impressed. I did not have a pullback like I expected. So I see it going further than where it is today. Heads up on Cadena, there's a huge sell wall at $2 because a lot of us that are in the ecosystem are basically trying to get out, and that is the number that a lot of people are looking for. So be careful before the $2 mark because it might get dumped on at that price point. But if it can keep going beyond that, then we have a little bit of money to be made. But ultimately, I do appreciate the Cosmos conversation because airdrops are getting hot once again, and you guys can make some good money on that platform. There's a token that's going to be launched called Tempe that is definitely going to be doing some airdrops, so not even shilling that one, just letting you guys know you're going to be able to get some free cash out of the deal. And ultimately, something that I was having a conversation about earlier, I think that I love the tech. I wish everything revolved around tech and like how things work, how good they are, how fast they are, how scalable they are. But sentiment is what's king. So Solana is going to keep rising regardless of what we say about the tech, about it not being decentralized like we want it to be, or anything else like that. It's ultimately people who have money and are making others feel good with that money, and things are going to pump because of it. So yeah, ride the waves whenever you can. ICP is always a good bet as well.
Thank you, Action, and we're gonna go to Evan last. Evan, what's up?
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna finish that. I'm gonna give you the deepest thoughts that I possibly can. I won't tell you a specific coin to invest in because I don't think it exists, but I'm gonna give you the idea. Okay, so I was thinking, what is the most valuable commodity in the 21st century? People say, well, it's gold, food, grains, whatever. And no, the answer is data. Look at TikTok's terms of service, right? People are constantly harvesting your data and selling it. It's the most valuable commodity in the 21st century. And so what is data? Well, data is just communication about who you are, your preferences, what you like. So it's basically just a digital version of who you are as a person, right? So companies sell data. What about your medical data, right? All of this stuff. What are we doing right now? What we're communicating. So what is communication? It's me taking my thoughts and putting what I'm thinking in my head into your head. That's exactly what communication is, right? This is how I convey the thoughts that are in my head and I put them into your head, and you can hear them and process them. Okay, so I don't know, Chainlink is doing this, it's the closest one, or Layer Zeros are doing this. My hottest take is this. If somebody a chain is interoperable where you can connect to every single chain and you can process data almost like a super oracle. Okay? So a super oracle that will allow you to process financial data on Bitcoin as well as smart contract data. There's something that's going to be compatible with all chains in the future that can do it in real time, where it can mesh the real world onto the financial world. Bitcoin revolutionized finance, and whatever this hot take is, whatever this chain is in the future, what I would call a soul chain, would allow communication of all types of data to basically mesh what you would call the metaverse into the real world. And you would combine both of them together in real time. That would be my hot take. You got to think about data is the most important commodity, and we give up so much of it so often, right? Like think about your medical data, right? If you can have possession of your data to where it's not protected by HIPAA or by your medical provider, you know how many hoops you have to jump through to get your medical data from your medical provider? What if you had possession of all your data and your privacy, and only you could give it out, and people couldn't sell it? That's what credit cards do, right? They sell your debt. They sell it to other third parties. So that's what I would consider my soul chain. I don't know, I'm just making up a word for it. So basically a super oracle is what I would suggest would be the ultimate hot take. I don't know if it's going to come out this cycle, but I see it in the future. So